I asked Parham Ghobadi, senior reporter at BBC Persian.
That's one of the core disagreements between Iran and the United States at the moment, the enrichment of the uranium. So Iranians are saying that that is a red line. We might decrease our enrichment to 3.67 from 60% to that. But the Americans are saying that we have no tolerance for that. We want a 0% enrichment. If you want enriched uranium for peaceful purposes, you can import it from other countries. You do not need to enrich it in your country.
What is the significance of this figure of 3.6%? I mean, why should that matter? Why is it important to Iran?
Primarily to keep their face, because imagine a person who's in his or in her 40s, they've lived all their life under U.S. sanctions and international sanctions. In October, there's a threat of snapback of all international sanctions again. So imagine if Iranians give up all their nuclear enrichment facilities and capabilities, then what are they going to tell their supporters? That we fought the Americans, we resisted, as they call it, against the American pressure for decades, and now we've given it all up in a matter of weeks, in a matter of months.
And how important in all this is the threat that Israel might attack Iran?
That's really an important issue, because Israel is an important player, however, in the shadow. So they're not directly involved in the talks, but everybody knows that they are going to lobby the Americans, and they are involved in a way. Donald Trump said that if there's going to be any military action against Iran, it's going to be led by Israelis.
How scared is Iran of an attack from the outside, for instance, from Israel?
So what we've seen is that the fact that Iranians have come to the negotiation table, it means that they took this extremely seriously, the threat of an attack against Iran, especially after Israeli attack against Iran a few months ago.
And why is that? Because it might stir up all sorts of civil discord inside Iran.
At first, you might think that these two issues are totally unrelated: hijab and chastity law and Iranian nuclear facilities. However, they are. How do we know that? Because Iranian parliament passed a law called hijab and chastity law to enforce hijab on Iranian women. Now, if you remember back a few years ago, there was a nationwide protest against hijab after the killing of Mahsa Amini. Now, the Iranian National Security Council has said that they cannot enforce that law. And the reason for that is one of the most hardline Iranian parliament members said it publicly, that it's because we introduced this law before Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah was assassinated, before this has happened to Hamas, before Bashar Assad in Syria was toppled. That was when we introduced this law. However, things have changed right now. So we cannot, the most important thing for us is to keep this establishment, this theocratical establishment. And they fear that enforcing this law may lead to another round of nationwide protests, and they cannot fight multiple battles.
Is there still a residual interest in having nuclear weapons?
So Iranians, after Donald Trump started threatening with military action against Iran, an advisor to Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, members of Iranian parliament, they all started talking about making a nuclear bomb. But what we don't know is this a bluff? Before the second term of Donald Trump, there were no talks of making nuclear bomb this seriously. However, things have changed, and Iranian authorities here and there are saying that if you put us in the corner, we're going to make a nuclear bomb.